Hello and welcome to the Last Lap podcast. This week in track and field, track hits the reset button with Grand Slam going bankrupt and USATF trying to take over, and some amazing races from across the board. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so welcome all to another episode of the Last Lap podcast. If you haven't already, please consider giving us a subscription and a follow. It helps out a ton. And, we're trying to grow the show. This is super new. And we're just trying to get a following of people who love track and field. So without further ado, my name is John. I'm the host here, and this is...
I'm Logan. I'm back.
He's back.
Excited to go over some of the things happening in track and field right now.
Absolutely. There's a lot going on. People think, right after XC, it kind of dies off, and indoor is not as exciting. That is not the case. There is so much going on from the business side of track and field to the actual events and everything. And one of the main storylines that's caught a lot of attention this week is, in all the wrong ways, Grand Slam track.
Yeah, I mean, they were hot on the scene last year, right? They came in swinging. They're like, yeah, we're going to have this big old prize pool for money, and we're going to have all these great athletes, and we're going to do something great with track. We're going to put track and field back on the map.
Track is back, baby.
Yeah, not really. They're bankrupt. So
track is bankrupt.
They Grand Slam track went bankrupt. They filed for bankruptcy. However, they're vowing to press forward. I guess the big story is that one of their big investors stepped out last second, and so they didn't have the cash flow that they were looking to have, and so now they're kind of screwed. Not gonna lie.
Absolutely. So maybe if you haven't been following the story very close and you have a lot of questions, Grand Slam track was a professional track league. Started up last year, was an inaugural season, and it saw a lot of success. It saw a lot of big names. I actually personally really enjoyed watching Grand Slam.
They had some cool tracks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they put on some good meets, and they had cool tracks.
It was filling up stadiums too.
Yeah,
like it was some of the best turnout I think we've seen in a while. But behind the scenes, things were kind of falling apart. They offered $100,000 to each Grand Slam winner in each event. Throughout the 4 events, you could earn up to $400,000 if you won all 4. Turns out that was a little bit of fool's gold. The money didn't actually exist. And to this day, they are still trying to get those payments back.
Yeah, I think, if I'm correct, I think they owe about $12 million to winners of meets, of races, that still has not been seen by those winners, and so we're gonna see what ends up happening there.
Yes. So they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy this week, and I'll just read a little bit of the statement that Michael Johnson, the president of Grand Slam, the owner, and great track athlete in his own right, he put out this statement. He said, GST, as in Grand Slam track, intends to utilize the Chapter 11 process to stabilize its financial, implement a more effective or more efficient cost and operating model, and position GST for long-term success. So it's not necessarily the end. Who knows what it will look like in the future? I think it's going to be really hard for them to come back in any form, though.
Yeah, and it's tough because they've been kind of closed down for now, right? The rule is that they can't do anything until they pay off their debt, right?
Yeah.
$50 million of debt. Between 10 and 50 million is what we've been told. We don't know actually how much it is, but USATF, they decided on the meets that are going to be sanctioned this year, and Grand Slam's not on any of them. They've got 17 they announced.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And maybe just one more snippet to add about Grand Slam is that they actually approached World Athletics and USATF for emergency funding, and both of them denied Grand Slam, which I think is interesting. So I don't know if it's a little bit of greed from their own right, or they don't think Grand Slam can succeed, or whatever it may be. But, a little sad for me. We're going to talk about maybe their USATF might try to pick up the pieces, but ultimately I think it's a sad day for track and field.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's hard to know whether or not USATF and World Athletics saw this coming, right?
Yeah.
Looking at it, that's a lot of money to be promising when you don't have that much money. right?
Absolutely.
It's hard to be giving $100,000 out when you don't have $100,000 to give. Right? I would be happy with $100,000, and I definitely don't have $100,000 to have. So
Yes.
I mean, you'd have to assume that they might have seen this coming, and that's why they didn't pick up the pieces. It'd be more of a money pit than anything in their eyes, at least at this point. That's what it looks like.
Absolutely.
And so I can understand, I can see why they would think that. But I know that USATF, they did come out with their sanctioned meets, and there's some really good sanctioned meets on there. They had 17 of them, and I mean it's the typical ones that we see every year from USATF.
Yeah, there was one that actually caught my eye. I believe it's in Idaho. Yeah, right there.
Yes.
In
the Ironwood Classic.
The Ironwood Classic. So they maybe added a few additional cities. A lot of California as per usual, but a couple kind of random. If you're in different parts of the country, maybe you'll get to see a USATF meet and go out and support some of the US's local athletes. But yeah, interesting stuff out of that for sure.
Absolutely.
Wanted to transition now into a race that took place on Saturday morning, the Hawaii Mile Race. It's called the I'm gonna butcher Kalakua Mary. Yeah, the Kalaka Mary Mile, 2025. This is a really interesting race for a lot of reasons. It had actually a lot of really competitive U.S. milers in this race. On the women's side, you saw Sinclair Johnson, Nikki Hiltz, and even a couple Kenyan athletes as well. On the men's side, you had Josh Hoey, Hobbs Kessler, Yard Nagoose, Nico Young, Festus Lagat, and Donovan Brazier actually stepping up in distance a little bit. So a lot of really big names in this race. Really interesting stuff. We actually just watched the race. Logan, how'd you see this play out?
Yeah, I was a little shocked at the 31 seconds, because 31 seconds was the head start time for the women before the men could start running, because they were all racing. They wanted them all competing at the finish line. I was a little shocked by that. It seemed like a lot, and I'm sure for Sinclair Johnson it was a ton.
Yeah,
because she
much.
She won by a lot.
Too much.
But I was watching that, and I know we were both watching those guys hawk down the women's section in the last 100 meters, and we were like, holy cow, those guys are moving. We know that Josh Hoey, he was the top male. He almost caught Nikki Hiltz. He didn't really almost catch Sinclair Johnson, but he was almost kind of in that spot to compete, to win. He ended up finishing third, just behind Nikki Hiltz. But it was a good race. I enjoyed watching it, and like you told me during the race, like that's a fast time for having to make a 180-degree turn halfway through the race.
Absolutely. She less than a second off the world record. So this is an interesting race because, as he kind of alluded to, the men and women are technically racing each other, and the women get a 31-second head start, and then they send them in, and it's basically the men's job to run them down. And I kind of go back and forth on this. It's kind of cool to watch the final straightaway with the men gunning them down, but I kind of hate the fact that, like, I don't know, Josh Hoey took third in this race,
but he ran
3:55. So I kind of dislike that they're like actually competing against each other. I think it's cool that like you get to see them all come in at the same time, but like when we're talking about pro athletes and prize pools and their actual livelihoods, like I think you just gotta separate.
Yeah,
them.
it's like it's like in the marathon, right? You don't give the men, you don't have a combined prize pool for the Chicago Marathon. You have the men's winners and the women's winners, right? I get the mile is 25 times shorter, but
and this is a gimmicky race, right? It's not. Yeah. No one's making the world championship final off of the Hawaii mile.
It's very true, but it's like, it's only fair to give the. You're not competing against the woman the whole time as a man.
No,
you're competing with the woman for the last 50 meters.
If you're lucky, if you catch up,
if you're in front, if you're Josh Hoey,
yeah,
right. But if you're I don't know, if all you're doing is competing for 50 meters, you're not racing each other.
For sure.
You're just showing up and
Sinclair
running.
Johnson wins $10,000, and Josh Hoey gets third place.
2,500.
So interesting race there. All props to Sinclair Johnson. She absolutely killed it.
Oh, she looked smooth.
Yeah, and Josh Hoey, as per usual, is getting into his best form in December and January. He got the 600-meter record last week. Takes down the super class men's field, championship medalist and finalist. Josh, please just hang on. All right, let's see this Josh Hoey in July and August instead of just in December.
I think that it's actually great because he doesn't have anything to worry about in July and August anymore.
That's true.
There's no world championships this year. He can go out and time trial and go for records all he wants. It doesn't matter right now when he is in shape. Maybe he wants to go for all the indoor records, and that's his prerogative. That's his thing.
Right? That there's actually a great point to that because instead they're doing the World Ultimate Championships this fall, and that's totally just based off of world rankings. So you may actually, this may be the year to just go get your world ranking as high as possible, and then you actually get to go to it, and you don't have to be top 3 at the U.S. trials, which has plagued him for literally years now. But yeah, awesome race. Anything else from that you'd like to say?
No, just what did Donovan Brazier run? I want to know.
Donovan Brazier took, let's see. He took 11th and ran 3:59.
Sub 4 miler. Good job, Donovan. I've loved Donovan Brazier since like high school. Like I've loved watching him, and then he had that big span where he was hurt. And so big ups to Donovan Brazier because he's a dog.
Absolutely.
Just, finally getting back to it. So
absolutely, he'll be 800 guy. Obviously, he'll be good. He'll be good this winter and this spring. I think he'll run some really fast 800s.
Looking forward to it.
Finally, the last big meet or race of the weekend. Go back to the high school ranks for a little bit. And with the Brooks XC Nationals. Really fun races. It used to be Foot Locker, right? But they kind of dropped the sponsorship. It's now Brooks. Exact same course. You get the same kind of nostalgia feel watching all of those guys race out there. But really fun race this morning.
Yeah, I mean, there was no real change in the winners from NXN a week ago.
Yeah.
It was actually the same people.
Yeah.
It was Natasha Dudek on the women's side and Jackson Spencer on the men's side. And I mean, the next guys were different, but
yep.
But for the winners, there was no change in a week. But big ups to those guys because they crushed it this morning. I was watching that women's race live, and there was just a tight three person pack for most of that race. 2 undefeated girls. And Jalen Williams from California. Mm-hmm. Those 3 were all together. Natasha, Dudek, Blair, Bartlett, and Jalen Williams. And then it was kind of interesting because there is like this gnarly hill with 800 to go.
Yes.
And you hit it at a mile, and then you hit it again at 800 to go. Mm-hmm. And it was crazy to watch Natasha Dudek just book it up this hill and leave everyone in the dust. And then she got down to the bottom of the hill, and all of a sudden, Blair Bartlett is back with her. And so it was like, oh, man, like both of these girls are undefeated on the season. Blair Bartlett wasn't at NXN. And so it was like, they haven't raced each other.
Yeah.
And so it was actually I was genuinely curious who was going to win. Ultimately, ended up being Natasha Dudek, and she looked really good doing it too. She's only a sophomore.
Insane.
Like she is a 2-time national champion as a sophomore, and that is incredible. Like that's wild. And so that I just a big takeaway is that Natasha Dudek's going to be good for a little while.
For sure. This is probably a podcast for a different day, but we got to talk about how like women's high school cross country has this like perfect system. Like as soon as one dominant female leaves, like another one immediately rises from the ashes, and she's also always like a freshman or sophomore, and then dominates. And then when she leaves, there's like a new one. Like they're like every 4 years, they're spaced perfectly.
It's someone waiting in the shadows.
Yeah, for sure. Really, really fun race on the women's side. On the men's side, you saw Jackson Spencer take home the win. He completes his undefeated season. He will undoubtedly be the Gatorade High School Boys Cross Country Runner of the Year. And really, he got a big challenge today from Marcelo Mentacone in second place. Ended up beating him by just 0.2 seconds. But if you watch this race, really interesting. So as Logan kind of mentioned, they go up that hill the first time, and on the way back down, Marcelo takes off and essentially just leads the race for what? Over a mile, probably?
I think he led the race from 800 in. I think he was in. I remember hearing them talk about him taking the lead. Maybe it was a little after 800.
Yeah,
but he held the lead for 2 miles in that race.
for sure. Really, really just stretched it out, and I think at one point had 8 seconds on Jackson Spencer.
Yeah.
After the first mile, which is crazy. And Jackson, I've been really impressed watching him race. He is one of the smartest racers you ever see in high school, with just the way he never gets out too hard and just slowly, methodically moves up and seems to always know how much he has left in the tank and when to make his move at the right time.
Yeah. Well, what's impressed me about Jackson Spencer is that this is a guy he's a 4 flat miler. He is, sub 9 2 miler, cross country champion in now NXN and Brooks, but he also is a course record holder, breaking Herman Fernandez's course record. That's insane.
Yeah.
That was what, Clovis?
I want to say, I think that's right.
And having somebody who can both break a course record that stood for 20 plus years and run so smart. He was in 20th place at the mile.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was back in 20th place. And I remember listening to Kara Goucher say,
Kara was freaking out.
Oh man, he's just gonna blow it.
Calm down, Kara.
I'm really worried. And I was like, oh man, she's getting me worried. Because I was listening to the race live on my run this morning, and I'm like, crap. Yesterday he was sitting there telling people, I'm going for the course record tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm breaking the course record. It's been up for 45 years. And he's like, I'm breaking that course record. And he starts off in 20th place, and he obviously did not break the course record, but he just ran the perfect race.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter who's in front at 3.10 miles. It matters who's in front at 3.11 miles, right?
Absolutely.
It's at 4.99K, it doesn't matter. It matters at 5K. It's things like that. He just ran the perfect race for him to be in front at 5K.
Absolutely. He's been super impressive. I am so excited to see what he does with the rest of his track season. I know as well he's planning on running U20s for US Cross.
Yes, he'll be going to Worlds.
So that'll be super awesome to see him on a more international stage, how he competes there. But really can't say enough positive things. He's a BYU commit. This is now is it the second or the third NXN champion in a row to sign with BYU?
No.
Oh, because Danny did not win.
JoJo Jordan won.
But it's if he wins Gatorade Player of the Year, it will be the third consecutive BYU commit to win Gatorade Player of the Year.
Yeah. So it'll be back-to-back NXN champions.
Yes.
Charlie Voss and Jackson Spencer.
Yes.
But then you've got Danny Simmons, who should have been NXN champion. Sorry, JoJo, you're great, but Danny should have won that year.
It's a whole nother story. But yeah, really, really fun stuff out of the high school races. I really enjoyed watching that. It's up on Full Track. You should definitely go give it a watch on YouTube. But yeah, thank you for tuning into the episode today. If you made it this far, please leave a comment of what your favorite race or meet was this weekend. Please share it with a friend, like, comment, subscribe, do all those things. As you kind of said before, we're trying to grow the show and just talk about track and field, trying to build this kind of as the sports center of track and field, and just keep talking about the athletes and the events and the storylines that go along with it. But any parting thoughts, Logan, as we
No, not really. I think that it's such a great sport that we have the opportunity to live in. It's cool to watch the different personalities in the sport, but I do love the fact that it's like a big family.
Absolutely.
Track and field, cross country. The running community really is always just going to be that kind of family. And so I'm glad that we get to bring some awareness to that.
Awesome. Well, sweet. This has and always will be the Last Lap podcast.